your lab results. You might get that report back and think, okay, normal, that sounds good enough, even though you might not be feeling great. But what if I told you that normal on paper might not actually be optimal for how you feel? The mission today is to unpack this difference, this critical distinction between just normal and truly optimal lab ranges. And crucially, why finding a healthcare provider who gets this difference is so important for your long-term health. It's about thriving, not just getting by. So let's get right into it. Why can these normal ranges be misleading? A lot of standard lab reports give you ranges based on this huge, broad population, right? But often without really considering your specific age or your symptoms or what you want your health to look like. Take free testosterone for men. The report for one lab might say normal is up to, say, 22 for an older guy. But for a younger, healthy adult, depending on the lab, an optimal level could actually be way higher, closer to 35. So even if you get a result like 28, which the report flags as high based on that generic older range, it can actually be pretty good if you're aiming for peak function. And it's fascinating, isn't it, how often providers just manage by those numbers on the page. They might say, look, you're in the normal range, you're fine, even when someone is sitting there telling them they feel terrible. It really begs the question, if you still have symptoms, maybe fatigue, brain fog, weight gain, whatever it is normal really enough? It's like ignoring the warning signs. Your body's sending signals, but the standard approach sometimes misses them. And it's definitely not just about men's health. Let's talk about women. How does this normal versus optimal thing play out there, say, with hormones like estradiol? Post-menopause, for example, a lab report might say an estradiol level of 0 to 30 is normal. But for feeling your best, for symptom relief, maybe better bone health, cognitive function, an optimal level might need to be higher, maybe closer to 75. And even though 75 might read as high on that standard report, if you're aiming for optimal wellness and symptom control, it's actually, relatively speaking, still quite low in the optimal range. All to say, the label high could be completely misleading in terms of the actual goal. And this applies beyond sex hormones too. Think about the thyroid. TSH is often the go-to test, the gold standard. But studies are showing it's not always the most reliable marker for what's happening at the cellular level. How much thyroid hormone is actually getting into your cells and doing its job. Free T3 gives a much clearer picture, it seems. It correlates better with how someone actually feels and functions day to day.